Welcome back to Live With, brought to you by Species Nutrition. Visit speciesnutrition.com. Today's guest is an IFBB Classic Physique Pro with one of the classiest physiques I've seen in a very long time. He'll be making his pro debut this weekend at the Pittsburgh Pro. The man I'm talking about is Steve Laureus. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Dave. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here today. And, I'm very excited, that we're doing this.
Yeah.
Introduce myself to the media, so it's a great look for me.
You got a great physique. You've been working with a good friend of mine, Justin Miller, for the past couple of years. And so Justin's been sending me pictures even before you were on stage. And I knew you were going to be a very dangerous guy in that Classic Physique division. You turned pro this past year in 2017 at the North American Championships, placing, interestingly, second place, not first. I don't know how that went down, but you could tell us about that. Talk to me about your I guess you could say your journey in Classic, because you've only been competing for 2 years and you're already at the top of your game.
Well, I'm very grateful. I have a great coach. He's very, he's on top of everything that I do. So it's been 10 months now. I've been working with Justin. So the improvement that I've made within 10 months, it's just phenomenal work, So it's been a really, really rough prep. This is the hardest prep, I've ever been through. There's a lot going on right now, in my life. So he's always there. This man, he done so much for me and trying to get me on top of my game. And, every day he calls me to make sure that I get my meals in. I train, and, he pushed me through a lot,
Right.
So I'm still brand new with a lot of things, with the posing, a lot of things so far. So, I'm pretty much a rookie. So I'm looking forward to that.
You're a rookie who's one of the best guys on the circuit right now, which is pretty interesting. How did you get into bodybuilding? Who got you? I know you played sports as a young guy. You played soccer and some football, and you were into jiu-jitsu and stuff like that. But how did you get into bodybuilding?
Well, it's very interesting. I never wanted to compete. Bodybuilding was never something that I wanted as a career. I used to just train because of stress. I used to go to the gym, and growing up, I love being in the gym. To me, it's a remedy. It's one of the number one stress release there is, just to go there and just socialize with friends and have a good time. So I met a woman, a few years ago, Denise Ponce. Yeah. She saw my physique for the first time, and she was very amazed by it. And she says, you should considering, competing. So and I never thought anything of it. And also I went to Vegas, on a trip, with my girl at the time, and I was approached by a guy named Louis Zwick that was a Musclemania president.
Yeah.
So he told me to do a show. I did, my first show with them. I did a second show with them. So I won overall all 2 shows. And from there, I just didn't know what to do. And it was a lot of, hype on social media and, about my physique. So I was pretty much lost, because the NPC, it's like right next door, because Steve Gym is in Long Island. And,
right.
I think it was the best thing just to fit into the NPC and
Sure. So you were just wandering around Vegas, and Lou Zwick just happened to see you?
Yeah, he saw me walking, and he came up to me and stuff.
That's weird, because Lou used to run these Musclemania events, before they were a separate organization, and he was pretty good for spotting talent. It's kind of ironic that of all places you were just there visiting and you ran into this guy. I mean, you talk about life being full of meaningful coincidences. I mean, who would have thought? You had no desire to compete before that, right?
It was pretty interesting, because I said, he's like, you could be a multiple time champion of Musclemania if you compete. If you make up your mind, I can put you into a show in a few months. You got to get in a little bit better shape. I said, it's not for me. And he's like, no, just take my card, please, So, really? And then I did the show, and I won, and I went to Florida, And I think it was 6 weeks after I won my first show with them, I won the Universe there, which is another big show they had. So
Did you even know what you were doing?
Pretty much no.
What were you eating? Like, what was your diet?
Pretty well. I worked with a guy named Doug Miller because I didn't know exactly what I was doing.
Right.
So he actually helped a lot.
Yeah.
So and it was my very first time getting in shape and with the dieting. So I think I could have been leaner, but
Yeah. There was not. I don't think the talent pool is so great in that organization anymore. So you probably did really well. So you decide, I'm going to make the crossover. I'm going to go to the NPC. That's where the number one talent pool is. That's going to lead me to the pro ranks, and be able to compete at an Olympia level. Did you have any idea what you were getting into? Did you realize how good you were, or were you still kind of naive to the whole thing?
No, actually, no. I never thought I was this good. The first time I actually showed Justin my physique, and he told me, he says, I can make you a multiple-time Mr. Olympia. I said, come on, man. I said, there's no way. I said, no way. Come on. I said, I'm just a regular guy, and come on. He was like, no, seriously, just trust me, And then he says, we can work and do a lot of things together, and hopefully we're going to put you in a show in August, which is the New Jersey Championship I did last year.
Yeah.
I think it was 4 weeks before the
you look crazy at that show. Yeah, you look great.
Thank you.
Weren't you working with Chris Aceto for a little short period of time too?
Yeah, about 3 weeks.
That's it. That was short.
But it's better that because I was 100% natural, so I just wanted to work with someone that would take a look at me and just take better care of me, because I was very afraid,
Right.
of going towards that route.
Right.
It was brand new for me, so I wanted someone to just
Gotcha.
be there, supervise me more.
So you win the jersey, and then you go to the North American Championships. Now, when I saw your pictures after the jersey, you probably saw, I was putting them up everywhere on RXMuscle site. I was giving a lot of hype, props to you, and I figured you were going to walk into that North American and just steamroll everyone. What happened at that show that didn't quite work out the way you wanted to?
Well, we didn't. There's a lot of things we did that was not organized. We got there a little late for the check-in, and we didn't sleep the night before. We didn't know prejudging was that early in the morning. So we were up to like 2 in the morning tanning.
Oof. And
we had to be up at 5 for prejudging because we had to check in at 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning. And 8 o'clock, Amit Roy was actually on stage at 8 o'clock. So I ate a lot of food that night, probably at least 10,000 calories. I don't think it processed.
Oh my God.
So, I kind of spilled, and I didn't have the condition, there just to just pop more under the lights and stuff. So, yeah. But at the final, I was a lot better at the finals.
Was that a disappointment for you? I know you still got the pro card, so it really didn't matter. But was it disappointing that you didn't win the show?
It's the best thing that ever happened to me.
Why?
I've won overall in all shows I've done. It's the first show I've ever got second. And I think that actually showed me that out of all my trophies, that's the main one that I consider the most. This is my second place trophy, because I believe that just showed me that, with all the talent you have, you always have to come sharp. You always have to be on top of your game. Because, if you slip, you're gonna lose.
Right.
Now,
yeah, no, that's very good insight into yourself. I think a lot of people, would get pissed and mad, and you're using it as a learning experience, and I think that is something that's going to benefit you moving into your pro career. Now, when you look at the existing pro lineup out there, from this last year's Olympia, which physique were you able to maybe identify with most up there, and which one did you like the best?
That I like the best?
Yeah.
Well, there's 3 guys, there's that I like the best. I like my teammate George, so I like his physique. I think he has a monstrous physique. You know, which is different than some guys. You know, he has his own look. There's another guy named Rylon. I think he got 8th.
Yeah.
I think if this guy puts on a lot of muscle, he can be a very, very, very dangerous competitor.
Yeah, I agree.
In the next 2 years. You know, and well, and also the Mr. Olympia. You know, so
you like Breon?
Yes, he's sharp. He's very sharp. You know, his conditioning, you know, it's on point. You know, it's.
What do you think of Chris Bumstead's physique?
Well, I'm just gonna be honest. You know,
Yeah.
I think he has a great look. You know, but I just think placing second, he needs a better back and better arms.
Okay.
But he has great legs. He has great legs, but I think his back developments and his arms needs to be better. You know, so you know, but the shape is there. You know, but we'll see what he brings this year. So we'll see what happens.
I'm going to put you on the spot now. How do you think you'll stack up against these guys on an Olympia stage? Can you beat them?
You know, I still think that I need a lot more improvement. You know, I think I need to improve a lot. You know, I have about 5 months to get ready. You know, if you know, depends on what happens in Pittsburgh. So you know, we're just trying to do something that never happened. So my coach think that if I do everything on point, if I eat all my meals, I do my cardio, I put on a lot of muscle, I come in harder, he thinks that I can give Breon a run for his money.
Yeah, I agree. I think you can too. Let's talk a little bit about your background, because you mentioned, I didn't even know this, but you were born in Haiti and you moved to France. Is that true?
Yes, that's correct.
Well, how old were you when you moved from Haiti to France?
I was about 10, so I was only there for a couple of years.
Did your parents do that for work? What was the reason you moved out of there?
Well, my mom died when I was a kid. My mom was murdered in Haiti.
Oh, wow.
So,
sorry to hear that.
It was a very harsh, you know, the way she died. She was set up by the government, and you know, they killed her and my little sister. So my father wanted me to get out of there. So
yeah, I don't blame him.
Moving, you know, to France.
How did that affect you, you know, growing up with that, you know, your mom, and seeing, you know, that tragedy, you know, occur so young in your life?
You know, since I was a kid, you know, I didn't think it was that effective until, you know, I came here in the U.S. You know, I saw how important, you know, when the kids, you know, the mom is so important in this country. You know, women has a lot of power in this country. So I was not treating right by my stepmom. You know, it was different. You know, it was a different environment for me. So it was very, very hard going back home every day after school. You know, so it was a place that I never wanted to be in. You know, so it's been a long road, man. You know, so it makes me a better person. It makes me have, you know, much more of a characteristic as a person. You know, I never drink, I never smoke, I never steal. So I always do the right thing, you know. So it's just a discipline. I think it just make me a man, you know.
You know, so a lot of people go the other direction. They become criminals. They become drug addicts. You know, after something like that happens. How did you stay so focused? Was it your dad's influence on you? Was it your own internal, you know, clock telling you what do you think did it?
I think both. I think my father was very hard on me. You know, not only that, my dad was very hard on me. You know, and I feel it's just me as a person. I just always believe when you do the right thing, you know, good is always going to come towards you. You know. Absolutely. So and being humble, you know, is the best thing. It's the best thing there is for someone. You always got to remain humble. You always got to be grateful of what people do for you. You always got to be appreciative of what people do for you. You know, I think it creates such a great energy. You know. Absolutely. What do you do for a living now? I'm a full-time massage therapist. Okay. And where'd you go to school? I went to school in New York College, and I went to school in Thailand. Yeah, it's a good massage school. Now, have you cut back your workload as you're getting ready for these shows, or are you still going full force? Well, slightly. I used to work about 72 hours a week. Oof. You know? So I cut back to about 55 hours a week. That's a lot of massages. So it's very, very hard because, during this prep, the one of the location that I normally work was burnt down. You know, so I lost 50% of my salary. You know, it was very hard affording the food and you know, just to train. So you know, that's the reason why if I didn't have Redcon one on my corner, you know, Aaron Singerman, you know, I cannot, you know, talk about a better company. You know.
Well, that's great that they're supporting you. Yeah.
If it wasn't for that company and my coach, you know, that had me 100%, this time that I wanted to just give up on the whole prep, you know. So, you know, those two guys came along, you know, and I got a great company on my corner, and I have a great person as a coach, you know, in my corner. So they just made it happen for me.
Well, Steve, it sounds like you got all your ducks in order. I want to wish you the best of luck coming this Saturday at the Pittsburgh Pro, and I think that Classic Physique division is going to be quite competitive from what I can see, huh?
Well, I don't know who's competing, so I haven't been on social media like that for about a week, so.
We know your coach Justin knows who's competing, that's for sure. Justin, come say hello to me. I feel like you're snubbing me.
I'm right over here, Dave. Hold on.
Yeah.
What's up?
What's up? How are you?
Justin and I know each other since the early '90s. That's how long we go back. 25 years.
He told me stories. And
Remember Bamboo Bernie's, Dave?
Bamboo Bernie's. The first night I met Justin, we met him at this bar in Manhattan, and by the end of the night, the whole bar was beaten up by all the bodybuilders that we had gone together with.
We had to fight our way out.
He told me that story. You know?
Yeah.
I saw you punching guys in the face, Dave. I remember that.
Yeah, Justin elbowed some guy in the head. I'd never seen that so close to me with such force. I said, "Oh boy, we're in big trouble now."
That's how the whole thing started.
Yeah. And I've still decided to be friends with him after that. Imagine that. So that's what a great guy he is.
You had a smile from ear to ear the next day, Dave.
I'd never seen anything like that up close.
I'm very surprised they picked fight with you guys because you were so big, Palumbo. You were like, what, 300 pounds at the time.
I was I was like the gentle giant there. Justin brought a bunch of guys that were nuts. You know, they love to fight. I didn't know this, you know. But, you know, when you get into a bar fight, you got to fight. We had to fight our way out of there because we were in the back of this bar. And New York City bars were very long. They weren't like wide. So in order to get from the back of the bar to the front door to get out of there, we had, you know, bodies were falling everywhere, you know, as we were getting out of there. I don't know why people just didn't get out of our way, but they didn't, and it was crazy. It was nuts.
Was that the only bar fight you ever got in, Dave?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. I bounced for 3 years, and I never saw bar fights like that.
That was a vicious fight, yeah. Hopefully everybody's okay.
Well, you're in good hands, Steve, with Justin over there. He's going to take good care of you, and I think you're going to go very far. I will go as far as to say that I know, whether it be Pittsburgh or another show, you'll be on that Olympia stage this year, and I know you'll be a big factor in that top 5. So I want to wish you the best of luck. I think you have a great career ahead of you, and please keep us updated.
Thank you very much, Palumbo. It's a pleasure, you know, for having me.
Thanks, Dave.
You know,
Justin, good luck this weekend with this guy, and I'm sure we'll get you back on after the victory. For now, though, we're out of time. Until next week, I'm Dave Palumbo with another edition of Live With.